Hello, you are on the Alice Reddit Stories channel. More than 90% watch my videos without a subscription. Subscribe to the channel so we always stay in touch. Enjoy watching.
We've been together for 5 years. We discussed marriage and children. I've learned to chat in his language after he paid for me to take classes. He's introduced me to all of his family with the intention of marrying, which is a big deal in his culture. I knew that before me, he had been a different girl a week kind of guy, and 1.5 years into our relationship, he admitted he cheated twice really early on because he hadn't expected us becoming a permanent thing, but his feelings changed. He said he told me because he wanted a future with me, apparently, and wanted, to be honest, a clean start. I took it really badly. I was utterly destroyed, like a ghost of my usual self. We broke up for 6 months, but I forgave him and we got back together. 3 years later, and a few days ago, he called and suddenly admitted that, including the 2 I already knew about, he had cheated with a total of 9 women. What feels worse is these weren't spur-of-the-moment one-night stands while drunk, but he deliberately followed them and contacted them on Instagram, and with some, went on 2 to 3 dates before dumping them. He said he did this once or twice a year. I didn't like him following random girls and asked him to unfriend them, but he said he never spoke to them and it was just to get his follower number up. He would leave his phone around me, never hid it, and I know his passcode, so I thought he was trustworthy. The one that really hurts is when he met a girl and had sex in her hotel. Then 2 weeks after my birthday, he drove to Europe for a night. It was just after the pandemic lifted, and I thought he just wanted to experience one night of solo travel. He and I had been on holiday Ryder a few months before, so naive, I know. He posted that he was driving along a road, and I saw that it was near a town that a girl from his Insta lives in. I had seen her Insta profile on his followers list. I think subconsciously I put it together but didn't admit it to myself. He came home the next day and came straight to me and slept with me. The day after, he slept with someone else. He put so much effort into cheating when I live an hour away from him. I can even see in our texts the time span in which he must have been on a date and in her bed. He probably texted me "good night" from her bed. I think I'm still in shock because I completely trusted him after the initial issue, which I saw as a temporary lapse due to old habits, and his subsequent behavior, language learning, family introductions, talking about marriage and children, etc., told me he was loyal and in this for the long term. He's told me contradictory things since then. On one hand, he said he'll constantly share his location with me from now on, that he's truly remorseful and doesn't want to lose me, that he'll become more religious and improve. But when I asked if he would delete Instagram for me, he said no because I should be able to trust him. And then on the other hand, he said he's a terrible person, agreed, and wants to be friends because he doesn't want to lose me, but the relationship is too messed up because of his decisions. Then he goes back to saying he'll change and so on. He said I should feel special and loved because he treated me well and always returned to me because I'm special. I just feel stupid, humiliated, and used. This isn't an accident. This is a repeated pattern, and my gut tells me nothing can change him and nothing can save this relationship even though I still love him. We are going to have a talk later, and I wonder if I should just say I'm done and block him, or should I lay out my terms such as delete Insta, attend therapy, shared location, etc. I know that if he wanted to commit properly, he would, but 5 years is a long time to throw away, and if he becomes the person he describes wanting to become, that would be great. I would love any advice on navigating this, and also how to heal from this regardless of if we stay together or not. I've also ordered a complete, extensive STD kit, which was very expensive, so perhaps I'll send him the bill for that. TLDR, BF of 5 years, cheated with 9 different women and thinks I should feel special because he wants a future with me? First, let me give you some context. I, 24F, was adopted with my older sister in 2003. Our biological older brother, 27M, was also adopted but by another family. We stayed in contact since we were kids, but grew apart a bit as we grew up. 3 years ago, my sister took her own life, and it was absolutely devastating for the family. I moved to the UK about a year and a half before it all happened and was really struggling financially. My brother helped me so much. He paid my rent a few times until I sorted myself out. He never asked to get the money back, which I appreciated a lot. He recently reached out as things didn't go to plan for him and asked if he could stay with me. I asked my 25M boyfriend of 3.5 years and he said no, as I was still getting my finances in order and couldn't support someone else. I told him I wouldn't need to support my brother financially, he only needed a roof over his head until he could find and start work. He said no. I was living at my work 4 nights a week and there was a spare room, so I said okay, I will put him up in the spare room at work. A week later I got fired. I never thought in a million years that this would happen. My boss was an absolutely awful person, but that's for another post. On my way to pick up my brother, I didn't feel comfortable leaving him at my now old place of work where my boss lived. I didn't know what to do, so I thought he can stay in our spare room until we sort something out. We got back home early this morning after a 9-hour drive, 18-hour drive for me. My boyfriend has not spoken to me since. I tried to speak to him tonight, but he just wouldn't listen, saying that I have again made a decision without him, regardless of what he said. My boyfriend said, "You barely know this guy yourself. He didn't even tell you when he left the country and came back that he didn't want to listen to my excuses, he just didn't want to hear it." He asked me to leave the room as he was getting very angry. I left. I decided to send him a message as I didn't know what else to do. Here is the message. "I'm very sorry this has happened. I was honestly going to put him up in the farmhouse at work and was just gonna help him out with lifts and stuff. I never in a million years thought I would get fired after driving down yesterday. I did a lot of thinking and didn't feel comfortable him staying there living where my boss lives, seeing her every day. We've spent the whole day getting everything sorted for him, applying for jobs. NIN is sent by post. We should receive it in the next week. He said himself he would rather have his own space and feels bad for being here, but he really was running out of options. If he doesn't find a job in 2 weeks, he said he would go back to France. I would really like it if you would try to get to know him. My sister practically begged me to go see her, even offered to pay for my flights, and I refused. A week later, she was dead. I always wonder if things would have been different if I had just agreed and went, I know this has nothing to do with you and it's my issue, but I couldn't leave my brother behind. I was too scared it would be another repeat of last time. I told him I could not support him financially and he was not expecting me to. I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to bond more and for you to get to know the other part of my family. I hope you can understand and forgive me for this. I don't want to lose another family member. I don't want to lose you." He didn't reply. He came down with his headphones on to make a sandwich. I had made dinner, so gave him a tap on the shoulder as I gave him the plate of food. He grabbed it off me, didn't say thank you or take headphones off, continued to make his sandwich. I thought maybe if my brother came in to say hello it might open him up a bit. He barely looked at him, still didn't take his headphones off and continued doing what he was doing. My brother and I just stood there not knowing what to do. We eventually left the room. Still no word from my boyfriend. Hi Reddit, I've been dealing with this problem for a while and it's really eating away at me. To preface, I have really bad trauma around lying. Like, every one of my past partners lied or cheated on me, so safe to say, I cannot tolerate it from someone close to me. My husband knows how much it affects me, yet I feel that he still lies anyway to get out of conflicts. BTW, he also has ADHD, and really bad rejection, sensitive dysphoria. Anyway, there have been a few times where I just felt like his stories didn't add up, but he was very adamant that he was telling the truth. The biggest one that has been bothering me involves when he was applying for a new job. We've been struggling really badly ever since COVID hit, and had to move back in with my parents in a new area so that we could have a new start with better jobs. My parents didn't mind, but we had to promise we'd try to apply and look for jobs. Fair enough, we agreed to that. My mom was telling my husband about a few places that were hiring, and he told her he'd look into them, but, knowing my husband, he would probably spend more time playing games than actually looking for jobs. I'm not saying he's completely lazy, but sometimes his priorities are a bit skewed. However, one night he told my mom he'd tried to put in an application to one of the places she mentioned, and he went upstairs to do it, I guess. A few days pass, and my mom asks if he had gotten around to putting in the application, and he casually goes, "Yeah, I did the other night." Something about his response just felt off to me, like he was lying. He's a person that would usually tell you after he's done something, so it was weird to me that he just didn't mention it for like a week until my mom brought it up. Another point to add, this situation has kinda come up before as well. When he and I tried looking for jobs in our hometown so that we could move out, he would always somehow mess up his online application, or it would say it was incomplete. He would always ask me for help doing them and even asked me to help him set up a new email, but whenever he tried to do these things himself, the emails would say, "You haven't completed this application," or he wouldn't hear back from them at all. This happened every time he did it on his own, so it just seemed suspicious to me. That isn't to say that he doesn't want to get a job. He would always say that he preferred walking into places to inquire about openings, and he has always gotten jobs this way, since that's the way his parents taught him, and what he was used to. We're from a very small, old-fashioned southern town. So it isn't like he didn't apply for anything, the online applications just never worked for him. Back to the current story, knowing how things went in the past, I asked him if he applied on the correct site, and asked if they asked for any specific information. He says he wasn't sure, and couldn't remember, so I suggested him finding the webpage so he could see if it was correct. He has accidentally put his information on fake sites before, so I was just worried. This is the part that really feels like he's lying. He said that he couldn't show me the site, because his laptop won't turn on anymore. That just seemed very off to me, although it could be true. The nights before he tried to boot it up and it kept bugging out a lot, and it has been doing that for a few years now. But how does it conveniently stop working now? I told him how I felt about it, and he got upset and said that he tried to apply, and that he's telling the truth. I asked if he got any kind of confirmation email or anything, but he said no. The place he applied to is a very well-known retailer that would have definitely sent him some kind of confirmation had he actually applied to them. He started getting upset that he may have messed up, and said he should have asked me to help, but honestly I was kind of tired of always having to help him. It feels like I have to micromanage everything he does, or he'll just mess it all up. He continues to stick to this story even now, after I had to help walk him through applying on the actual site a few weeks later. He keeps saying he wouldn't lie about something like this, but honestly, a lot of his stories are so vague like this. I know I should have more faith in him, but it's hard. There was even a time where he got so frustrated that I don't believe him sometimes, that he said maybe he should just confess to lying so that I'll stop saying he is, even though he's telling the truth. It just keeps bothering me. I wish I knew if I could believe him or not. My gut keeps saying he's lying to me, and it just makes me want to push away from him. Is there anything I can do to maybe get over this? I just don't know what to do. TLDR, I feel like my husband is lying about applying to a job. His story just seems too far-fetched to me.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, there are a lot of interesting stories ahead of you.